One of the things I love to talk about is this idea that we get so busy doing real estate, the actual practice, that we don't run the business of real estate. We're so busy in the business that we can't work on the business. This is really the place where I think agents leave some real meat on the bone. They don't look at how the market is changing and determining from those changes where the opportunities are, and clearly having the ability to codify that for their customers.
What is close for life for you?
When I ran my pizza restaurants, I didn't get excited about selling a pizza. I got excited about becoming somebody's pizza place. That's the only place they went to for pizza. In real estate, we don't prioritize that. In real estate, we prioritize get paid. The customer retention rate in our industry is abysmal. It's around 12%. 12% customer retention rate is a huge problem because you have to be able to get people back. We don't talk about it in real estate because we're too busy trying to close deals rather than trying to figure out how to keep customers.
So the man of the hour, Josh Cadillac, is here today with us on the Icons in Real Estate podcast. How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm great, Thomas. Thanks so much for having me.
Nice. It's good for once to be on the other side as well, right? I mean, you have your own podcast. Like, what do you prefer, to host it or to guest it?
Being a guest is cool, but I get to meet such really interesting people as a host. So it's there's benefits to both, I would say.
So I think it's harder to be a guest because you're on the spot, right? And I'll do my best to put you on the spot today, Joe.
I live on the spot, Thomas. I'm not going to lie. I stand in front of rooms full of people all the time speaking, so I'm used to. If I don't have an answer, I don't deserve to be there.
Awesome. Love that. And Josh, we are now in December, right? And I do have a quick question before we get to what I really want to dive into is, what should December mean for real estate agents? This kind of got me thinking because I was talking with a few, and there are agents that are already, of course, envisioning 2026, planning the year, getting their budget, getting their marketing in order, getting their team in order. And then we have the others that is like, oh, I want to get to my goal. I want to finish this year with 2 or 3 transactions more, right? What does this month should mean for them?
I think that this month, it's hard not to see it slowing down, and it's not driven so much by what agents want. The consumers are going to drive this because they're with family, they're planning holiday events. There tends to be maybe some wrap up of transactions, but if those transactions aren't in the pipeline, instigating a transaction that's going to close within December doesn't happen. It happens, but it's not nearly as frequent as other months. So the natural tendency of things to slow down, I think, gives us time to take that breath that real estate so infrequently gives us. One of the things I love to talk about is this idea that we get so busy doing real estate, the actual practice, that we don't run the business of real estate. We're so busy in the business that we can't work on the business. And it's very much, when you're an entrepreneur, it's very much a problem that you run into. So I would say taking this time to obviously with great precision and excellence, close out whatever business you have and try to fill your pipeline going into next year, but really taking the time to assess what worked, what didn't, and how the market has changed. This is really the place where I think agents leave some real meat on the bone. They don't look at how the market is changing and determining from those changes where the opportunities are, and clearly having the ability to codify that for their customers. Like, hey guys, this is where you need to be because this is what's happening. And that means this is where the opportunity is going to be, as opposed to they're kind of reacting and saying, here's where the opportunity is. Well, the bell's already rung. You know, the horse is out of the stable already. I want to tell them, hey, this is where the horse is going to be because that's where the opportunity is. So I think taking time for that is really what December gives us.
Nice. It can be an awkward timing as well. Just getting out of Thanksgiving week as well. Not just the agent, also the buyers and sellers. But it is really what you said, right? Whatever's on the table, don't ignore it. It's still do the prospecting, but then it is a good time to breathe and think about the next year. Thank you for that, Josh.
I often kid around, Thomas, and say, if you ever want to see sagebrush in my home state of Florida, go to a real estate office between the week before Thanksgiving and the week after New Year's. You'll see sagebrush blowing through the office because nobody's there. Like, that's just how kind of real estate is.
Perfect. I think we'll have a lot of people reaching out to us about that. So you're on the spot, and it's not just you; it's the brand that you're building, right? And the one that you're elevating yourself behind, the brand Close for Life, right?
That's
I wanna get a little bit into the meaning behind this, right? Like what is Close for Life for you?
It's just simply prioritizing building a business over doing deals. When I ran my pizza restaurants, I didn't get excited about selling a pizza. I got excited about becoming somebody's pizza place. That's the only place they went to for pizza. In real estate, we don't prioritize that. In real estate, we prioritize get paid. Getting paid gets you the awards. Getting paid is what gets the accolades. Oh, you closed this much volume. There's never a mindset of where did that business come from? Did that business come from past business? Because past businesses, they've used you and now they're coming back. The customer retention rate in our industry is abysmal. It's around 12%. And frankly, if I had a 12% customer retention rate in any of my businesses, besides real estate, it would be huge. I mean, unless you're an undertaker, a 12% customer retention rate is a huge problem, right? Because you have to be able to get people back. We don't talk about it in real estate because we're too busy trying to close deals rather than trying to figure out how to keep customers. And so that's what Close for Life is about. How do we do this in such a way that they would never think of doing real estate with anyone other than you ever again? Period. End of story. That's how businesses are built in my mind.
Yes, I also feel like because we have a lot of agents that their business is referral based. Oh, my business is 75% referral based or 85% referral based. But there's a lot of agents that they take for granted the referral that okay, I have this client. This client will refer me and will work me in the future, and it's not like that, right? 12%. It is daunting.
Pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, it's the ultimate indictment in my mind on the industry. I mean, the number's somewhat skewed because, there's new people coming in, so they didn't use the agent. Okay, fine. But we need to do better. We need to, a customer that we are on the fence with whether or not they would use us again has to be seen as a huge failure in our process. And it's just not. It's like if we closed, it doesn't matter how good or bad it was, we got paid. That's the mantra. That's the industry. And to me, that's just highly flawed, right? We need to sit there and say, they're coming back. It's not the referral that's the ultimate testament. It's them coming back and referring me. Like when they get the chance to do it again, are they thinking to themselves, I could do better, and trying somebody else? If I left them that room after working with them for the length of time that I do in a real estate transaction, if I left that space in their mind, that is such a failure of preparation on my side because I can prepare for all that before I ever meet them. I can anticipate them better. I could try to think about what their process is going to be and make them feel protected and looked after every step of the way. The analogy that I like to use on this, Thomas, a lot is years ago, I was a ballroom dancer. And as a ballroom dancer, as the man, your job is to lead. And, to begin with, when you start to dance, you think it's pushing and pulling and getting her where you need her to be is how leading is done. But when you get with someone who's a great lead, you barely feel the lead at all. What they do is they take all the other options away and you just find yourself being where you're supposed to be because they've thought through not where their feet are going to be. They've thought through where your feet are going to be and what you need to feel based upon where your feet are to be where you need to be. They've danced your part in their mind. We have so much exposure to customers, but we're too busy dancing our own part to start dancing their part in our mind and say, if my feet were here, how do I get there? That's how you have to take care of customers.
Love that analogy. And not everyone could do that, right? Because not everyone was a ballroom dancer and a pizza owner restaurant as well. Love that analogy, Josh. And it's really like if you, rather than forcing someone to follow you, is dancing with them. And thanks for sharing a little bit about the Close for Life as well. Josh has plenty of resources on his website as well, of mastermind courses, and you can look at his face on across 1,000 videos. And right now, what I really want to drill off of Josh and to get you guys a little bit closer to where you want to be is to get into the world of crypto. Okay. Now, don't be scared, okay? We're not going to scam you. But this is a conversation that has been going for a while, Josh. Like, right? Sometimes it stops being a conversation, then it comes back, right? Depending
Yep.
on the little Bitcoin market.
On
So,
the
like,
price of Bitcoin. Yeah.
on the price of Bitcoin. That's how the conversation are going, right? So, I wanna take these chance, this episode that we have you with us, to get some real clarity on the world of crypto and real estate. Let's start with you creating the first crypto in real estate course approved for C in Florida. Like, that's impressive. That's some pioneer stuff. Like, what made you do it, and kind of tell us the progress on how that happened.
So I have to let me be 100% transparent here, Thomas. I am what I call a tech skeptic. So, like, early adopters, I'm not that. I'm the guy that wants all the early adopters to break it, screw it up, deal with all the problems, the 2:00 in the morning calls I don't want any of that crap. When it works better than what I was using before, that's when I'll consider using it. So when it comes to getting out in front of something like this, that's not normally where I am, but I had a friend of mine. I was actually doing a podcast with him, and we finished the podcast, and he had another friend that was putting on a crypto conference. And he said to me at the end, because this guy knows that I've written a lot of educational stuff, he said, Cadillac, because he always calls me by my last name. He says, Cadillac, you should go to the crypto conference. And then an idea from you should write a class about crypto and real estate. I said to him, look, I'm happy to go to the conference, but in order for me to write a class, I actually have to know what the hell I'm talking about. It's kind of a wreck. Like, I care that I actually not making this stuff up. He says, don't worry. I have the people there. I have some really, OG crypto people that'll get you spun up. So I went to the crypto conference and I started reading a lot about it. Safadina Moose's book, The Bitcoin Standard, is one of the best books I've ever read about money. I recommend it to agents who have no interest in crypto just because it's so good explaining money and inflation, right? And so I learned a lot of really good stuff, and also bolstered a lot of areas that I knew a lot about, but it really tightened up my game. And it made me realize what the boxes that crypto checked. So, like, when I invest in tech or anything new, I always want to make sure it's solving a real problem that exists. And hard, stable money has always been a problem in the world. It's the reason why we've relied so much on gold for, thousands of years, because of it's the individual properties of it that make it difficult to mine or whatever, right? But gold has these downsides. And as you take a look at crypto and compare it to gold and other things like this, it solves a lot of those downsides while providing upsides, some other unique downsides to it, but upsides that really solve a lot of the problems that have existed with money since the beginning of time. And so, when you get your head wrapped around, like when you stop taking money for granted and you get your head wrapped around like the job that money does, you start to be able to identify what the shortcomings of the money that we use are and where there's room for improvement. So that's really what kind of attracted me to it, solving this problem. Like, I clearly identifying the problems with how we do it now and seeing that this solves a lot of those problems. And then the ultimate test. The ultimate test is what Bitcoin has done, going from a value of a fraction of a cent to the value that it is today, which means adoption is really the only the hill that it had to cross, and adoption exists. When it's $93,000, I think is what it was, is what it's trading at as of this morning, last I saw. Obviously, enough people have gotten on board, because when you consider that most of the currencies that we have in the world today are fiat currencies, it's just because everybody agrees that it's valuable, This has that as well. So yeah, I mean, volatility issues and things like that, sure, they exist. But you know what else had huge volatility issues? Were all those internet stocks in the late 90s and early 2000s. And that whole internet thing was a scam, right? Oh, wait, we're on the internet right now recording this podcast. I mean, like, just because things are volatile doesn't mean that they're inherently bad. The problem really is, and I don't mean to take this question this far, but I think it's a critical idea to kind of clean this up a little bit. Volatility is an indication of a lack of history, right? As an investor, I'm always trying to figure out how the pressures that are coming, So when I invest in real estate or anything, I'm always saying, hey, what's coming? How do those things, how historically have those things affected the thing that I'm thinking about investing in? If they're bad for it, I want to liquidate my position now before those bad events affect me. If they're good, I want to hold or extend my position. I want more of it, right? With crypto, we don't have that history. We've only had it for a short period. I mean, with real estate, we've had it since time immemorial, right? So we know, hey, interest rates go up. This is what happens. These things with crypto, we kind of have like correlation, but not necessarily causation, because we haven't seen it over decades and decades of time. It's been, 15, almost, what is that? Almost, 15 years that we've had it. So I think that's kind of a very long-winded answer of kind of like what took me there, got me excited, and, took the investor bug and turned it into, let's write about this because it's got legs.
Nice. And it's, I mean, even on the skepticality that you had, like you did have to have, some set of balls for you to go to that conference and learn that and be the first one to get that course ahead and approved. Now, obviously, like you, other agents are skeptical, but they maybe don't have then the energy or the openness to actually take something in. One thing is being skeptical, other is just being, blindfolded. Do you have, and I think the easiest way that we can go about it is like start with, practicality and like real life situations. Do you have like a real life deal where you incorporated, crypto and real estate that you can share with us? And
Sure.
like this, I mean, it will be hard to ignore.
Yeah. The using crypto and crypto, one of the big wins that we got was getting lenders to be willing to accept crypto trading accounts and the value that existed there, people's crypto trading accounts, counting as assets for down payment, like to qualify for mortgages. That was and the most frequent place where I see crypto used is in that way. Transactions done fully with crypto, there's been a handful of them that have been done. I've participated in some, not directly as the agent, as like the expert, like, geez, Josh, we're doing this. How do we do it? Kind of thing. So I can't say that, like from start to finish, I shepherd the customer through the crypto transaction, but I have been there to take and do the, what do you want to call it? The emotional control of what goes on as both parties. Because really the tricky part, Thomas, is getting a seller to be willing to accept it, right? Because the person that's going to approach you to do a crypto deal is always the buyer, because the buyer's the guy that got crypto. I mean, it is a subset of the market that like, hey, I have this asset and I'd like to trade it for this other asset type. Like, who's somebody that's willing to do that deal? I mean, it would be like me saying to you, hey, I have this very expensive painting. Would you swap me to your property? Like, I'd have to find somebody that wants the painting. But it's a little bit different because crypto is a money. It is an intermediary of exchange. It's not the thing. It's a thing we use to buy the things that we want, right? It's a placeholder for value. And so in those transactions, the tricky part has been the structure. And then the other big issue that there's been is getting title insurance and getting mortgages handled. So there's a lot of lending regulations and things that are in place. Every state is different, but as to like how the money is escrowed to do the mortgage payoffs, and that process has been messy. So like in one of the transactions, we had to take and escrow the money overseas to not violate banking regulations here on a technicality that had nothing to do with like we were doing something illegal. It was a law written that never contemplated that this was a way that this could exist and there'd be a way to do it. So what you have is a new technology that the laws that exist on the books aren't.
It's not adaptable.
It isn't anticipated by the laws that exist. And for that reason, it's clunky. So like if you're going to take and do a transaction in crypto, it's going to be a bumpy process. Critical pieces are going to be, you have to find a title company more than anyone. The title company, or more so the attorney. You're going to probably want a title company that has an attorney, right? Because an attorney is going to, with a regular title company, they're going to be like, it's messy. No, we don't touch messy. But there's an attorney involved. Usually the attorney will have more flexibility. Find somebody that's got an appetite for this, that wants to get on the right side of this. doesn't want to get left behind by the technology as it becomes more and more of a thing, and work with them. Work with people that have already done these deals because they are nuanced. There's a lot to know, but just like any real estate deal, there's a lot to know. You just need to be with the people that have done the work. That's what I would say. Those are the big, like, stumbling block things to get past.
Nice. And I like how you're not, overselling it as well. When someone is an advocate of something, right? You'll start to go straight into, oh my God, this is perfect. This is that. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that you're giving us, it's like, hey, like it is a great opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. You go
There's
to a
obviously
crypto
challenges.
conference, it's like how crypto is going to cure cancer. Like it's the solve for every. It's not. It's a thing. It's a good thing. It has some good things about it, and for that reason, I think there's going to be broader and broader adoption, which means it's the type of asset that, if you think about it like gold Cougarans or like gold coins that you have, right? You wouldn't go sell gold coins to buy ice cream when the ice cream truck's coming by. But you would go liquidate some of your gold to get into another investment type, like a piece of real estate. And so for that reason, disproportionately, people in real estate are going to have to be aware of this thing, especially as more and more laws are kind of coming around to this idea. So like, I'm not a drink the Kool-Aid guy. I like it. I think it does some really cool stuff. I think if you get a chance to read that book by Safadine Amous, the Bitcoin Standard, it will make the quality of your conversations both about money and about crypto significantly better. It's really well done.
Nice. For the regular, real estate agent that is listening now, like obviously they've heard Bitcoin before. Maybe they never heard there would be a connection with real estate. Besides the step that you already, advised them to, read the Bitcoin Standard, like, is there anything else that you would advise them to do to explore this path?
I would say take this time so crypto has had a couple of downsides. In fact, I think that your disclaimer early was very telling. There has been a lot of low integrity behavior by people in that community, right? There's been a lot of scams and a lot of people that have been hurt. I would say that crypto has been put probably 3 to 5 years back from where it should be if those bad players had not existed, right? If the people that had come in and just simply scam people, because enough people have been hurt that now they're like stepping back. But that happened with the early days of the internet as well. People got scammed that way, but it just took it a while to overcome and get past the pain threshold. So I would say use this period of time as Bitcoin's value has, went down to 18,000. It's all the way back, was up over 100,000. Like as it's spooling up, as that value continues to go up, the quantity and quality of the conversations, the meaningfulness of those conversations of this taking place and being more of a part of real estate are going to increase. Use this period of time to spool yourself up in understanding it and understanding what's going to be needed to get this done, because otherwise you run the risk of what happened early on in my real estate career. In my real estate career, when I started, was 2008, and all there was foreclosures and short sales, basically. Most of the agents that were out there didn't want to learn how to do short sales because they I don't do that. No, right? It was the only business that I learned how to do them. I was doing so much more business than these agents that had been around forever because I was willing to do the thing that the market needed at the time. There will be business that you'll have to say no to. And the quantity of business that you will have to say no to because you haven't prepared yourself for it is going to be more and more. So I think maybe the best thing I could say here, Thomas, is something my father told me. It's a great piece of advice. He said, son, when you learn something, that's yours forever. Nobody could take that from you. And so learning it could only make you a more valuable resource asset going forward. And it'll give you clarity where you could sit there and say, you know what? This is not for me. And I always tell people that that's okay in real estate. Like there's all kinds of stuff in real estate. Like, hey, I know it well. I know it just enough to be dangerous. You need somebody else to take and help you because I'm not the expert in that thing. But I think you owe it to your business and to yourself to not just give up and say, for those young whippersnappers, I don't even own a hoodie, because if you ever go to a crypto conference, you got to have a hoodie. Everybody's got a hoodie in a crypto conference.
You don't get in.
You don't get in, right? Totally. Like, where's your hoodie? You're not one of us. Yeah, I would say I love seeing the folks that are, in their 70s that are there and are getting into it because they're refusing to let time pass them by. It is a choice to become irrelevant. If I'm going to go out of my business, if I'm going to leave my business, I want it to be my choice, not because I've allowed the business to pass me by. And so this is an opportunity for you to strike a blow as to how you're going to lead your business and run your business going forward. It's a choice. We are faced with choices every single stinking day. And I love those kind of choices because as a bodybuilder years ago, I knew when I faced the choice at the end of the workout to do that one more set that almost no one would do because you've done so much. When I do that one extra set, I get the results that those other people will never get because I'm willing to do the work that they won't. So take the laziness of others and take advantage of it by doing one more set, by going out there and learning this new thing, learning about it. It improves the quality of your conversation and it makes you a more valuable asset to more people.
The ball is in your court now. And by you, I don't mean Josh. I mean you that listening to the podcast right now. Thank you, Josh. And the biggest takeaway, and that would actually, hit my heart as a real estate agent was just, the question that you asked, the rhetorical question that you asked would be like, would you really want to say no to a deal? Right. And those no's will come if you don't get ready.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much, Josh. And like you have your own podcast, as we were talking about in the beginning, know your shit, right? Well, you definitely, showed a little bit that you know your shit. And here at Icons Real Estate, we're big fans of podcasting. We produce more than 80 of them, right? So we kind of have to like it. Tell me a little bit about yours. Let this be a space that you can promote a little bit. Like,
sure.
What have you learned from interviewing all of those top performers?
During the niche that I fill, people would have thought my podcast was going to be, all real estate all day. My passion in my heart is kind of for the entrepreneurial journey that every real estate agent goes through, because they don't usually define us as entrepreneurs. Yet we are solo business owners. I mean, we work under a broker, but not for a broker. So we're really kind of left to our own devices to sort things out. So know your shit is really interviewing people that have been successful in any industry to see what their journey was like, what the problems they dealt with are, how they dealt with themselves, how they dealt with, the fact that, we could put on a brave face, but most everybody's cried themselves to sleep at least once doing this real estate business, because it's hard. Like that's not in the brochure, but it's harder than people think it is. And every entrepreneur finds this out that, hey, own your own business. It's a little bit uglier than that. And so I think giving people the reassurance and maybe some tools, what I've really gotten, I've gotten some great book recommendations out of it, but I've gotten some really good ways of looking at things that I've looked at before, but in a different light that has given me better clarity going forward in dealing with the most difficult person that I have to deal with, me. So, I find better ways to handle myself, to think about things, to maintain that balance between confidence and humility that makes you, a person that both knows their stuff and is still fun to hang around with and not an a-hole, And so I think that's kind of what I've gotten from the podcast, man.
Yeah, and at the same time that you're getting all of that and being a better you, every episode that goes by, well, you have a little bit of content to share, right? That also counts.
Yeah, we try.
Awesome, Josh. And I was going through a few episodes, getting ready to be the best host for you. I did saw one of the questions that you asked one of your guests, and that's the question that we're going to wrap up with today. That is, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself?
It's a tough question. I've thought about that one a lot because as I look at the mistakes that I've made along the way, I realize I wouldn't be the guy I am if I hadn't made those mistakes. And I like the person I am now. I've tried to make that on an annual basis. I like this guy better than the guy we had last year. I'm trying to take and build into the staff to take in like a good CEO would. Like, how do we get them to where we need them to be? Still got, far from perfect, right? But I would say don't buy into all the stuff you've told yourself your whole life. The things I had convinced myself of, Thomas, if you would ask me at 25, Thomas, I will never write another paper ever again. Like when I finished high school, I am never going back to school and writing a paper on anything that doesn't matter ever again. Done. Not going to happen. I just finished my 5th book. I've written 49 textbooks. So I was wrong about that. And the other thing I would tell you, Thomas, is I'm never getting up in front of people and speaking. Never do. Not going to happen. Right? It's where I get my true joy and passion in life. I deceive myself into avoiding for a significant period of my life the things that actually are where I was supposed to be. And so my father used to tell me, it's not what you know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know that isn't so. And so I would tell myself probably to listen to that advice. I thought I was, that's the worst part. I thought I was listening to the advice. But when I came to myself, I told myself some things that just really, I took them off the table without giving them fair betting. So maybe to give it a different way to our listeners, consider the lies that you may be telling yourself that are keeping you from trying the things that are maybe where you're supposed to be.
Nice. That's amazing advice there. And now I'm afraid that I'm going to be a guest on the podcast and they're going to ask me the question. So I'm going to start thinking about that one.
You got it.
I got it. I will. And I want to give you like a little space as well. Like you're a man with books, 5 books. You said it yourself. You have some mastermind courses. I want to give you the floor now to, promote the fish that you have in stock. Like, what do you have for us? How can people get a hold of you?
Sure. So I would say that the best thing that I could tell folks is, especially folks in real estate, the Close for Life Mastermind. I've tried to make that the least expensive. I mean, there's just so many people charging so much money out there. We have it at $29 a month. We meet once a week on Zoom. I do, in addition to the weekly meeting, we do at least once a month pop-up sessions of, a special class that people want to hear or a topic they want me to go on. I also create content for them, but we also have a laundry list of my most popular classes that they pay me to go all over the country to teach. They're recorded right there that people can watch. But yeah, Close for Life is the book that I did on real estate for McGraw-Hill. That was a big one, and that's basically the Close for Life philosophy. That idea of dealing with yourself and dealing with customers and dealing with understanding the product well enough to be the asset they need. And then I wrote a book, originally the first book I ever wrote was a book called Roadmap the American Dream, which is a book about how money and investing works, because it turns out they don't teach you that in school. And then the most recent one that came out was Success for Life, which is an anthology that I did with a bunch of other of my people that I've met, actually a lot of them from the podcast who are very successful, putting out just each person writing a chapter about what they think was the secret to their success, what they track it back to. That one was, I'm not going to lie, Thomas, it was such an interesting process because I thought all of our stories were going to be so similar, and what was surprising is how dissimilar they were. And then there's a book I wrote about handling objections and buyer objections. So that's an ebook kind of thing. It's kind of a half a book. And then the most recent project, the one that's actually went to the editor day before yesterday, is a 574 page monster on financial literacy that I was asked to write for homeschool high school students that we're going to take and try to get. Yeah, no, we're going to get it as a dual enrollment program so they can get college credit for it. It exceeds all standards for education on that topic across the board. And it's written in a way, you ready for this? This is what I try to do. I tried to write a textbook that doesn't suck to read. Like it's interesting. It's fun. It's even kind of funny. Because wouldn't it be great if a student actually enjoyed going to the class because the information was interesting? Yeah, that's been the big project. So there you guys, a long-winded answer. Closeforlife.com. Now you can see all the real estate stuff, and the podcast, the Know Your Shit podcast is there, and links to a whole lot of stuff. We also have an app, Close for Life app, that's out there where folks can have access to a lot of free stuff and goodies. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Awesome, Josh. And we'll plug all the links on the description below. And thank you so much for being a guest today. And I'll see you guys next week.